Oh, and then we have this. Have you guys seen this? I think people are misunderstanding what this is. I think this might actually be something way more, way better, because I think the name testing is in there. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it too differently. But Waka posted this. I think they finally realized that Evocati is literally the stupidest thing that they've done. The way they've gone about it. Having an Evocati patch is not dumb. But having the NDA on it has always been dumb because it's impossible to enforce and too easy to get around, right? There's no way to know who leaked. There's no way to know, like, none of that stuff, right? There used to be ways to know. And I know that there used to be ways to know, and now there's not. But then even those ways were like grabbed off the issue council and stuff. It was such a mess. So this could be one of two things. I kind of think it's focus testing more than like focus groups rather than like testing, like, ooh, find this bug for us. I really don't think that that's what this is going to be. So let's read into it. We're excited to announce the launch of our new program for selected group gameplay testing. These tests are designed to gather rapid focus feedback on critical game systems through highly focused short burst sessions. So I'll have you know, they already have this. They have this for the flight model. I don't know if you guys know that, but there's like a special group for the flight model, and they had been doing testing like a long time ago. I don't know if they still do it, but they already had something like this, and they probably saw some success. The reason you probably don't know about it is because those people actually respected the testing. Just a little history here on Evocati. I was one of the only creators in it for the longest time, and I was very open and honest about why I wanted to be in it. I liked to learn about how things would work before the patch would come out, so I would be, more informed on how things worked. So I enjoyed it. I definitely did some testing, definitely reported some bugs, maybe not as many as some people did, but I think just being in the patch gives them data regardless, right? So if you're in the test and you're doing things and you're confirming some bugs and tacos and things like that, then you're helping. But then around, the time that when they allowed us to talk about our experience, I came out with a video and I talked about my experience, and I think it got 40,000 views in a day. And then all of a sudden, other creators started getting added. I imagine it's because they complained that I got views and they didn't, or something like that. But the reason I had always advocated for, hey, let us talk about our experiences, but if you don't want us to show them, I think that that's totally fine. Reason being is, actually, I didn't even say let us talk about our experiences. I just said let us talk about the patch notes. Make the patch notes public, because those are just, people copy and paste them. There's no way for anybody to know that these things are NDA, right? Like who broke the NDA, I should say, because they just like the immediate time that they're posted, they're on Reddit and everybody knows what's in the patch anyway. But for some reason, I was a creator and I wasn't allowed to talk about it, so I messaged them all the time and was like, just let me say this is what's in the patch notes. Read off the list. No big deal. I didn't even want to share my experiences about it. But then they came out and said, you could share your experiences about it. And then we had fucking streamers playing the game on their stream full cam, which was insane and ridiculous. And then you had like me, I made the video, which was also insane and ridiculous. But if you're going to let me do it, I'm going to do it. People want to know what's going on. People want to know, is the patch working? Is it good? Is it bad? Was your frames better? Was this better? People want to know that stuff, right? And I hated every minute of it. And honestly, for the most part, I stopped doing it because it's just, it feels gross and icky, and it's just shit. So if you're going to do it that way, Evo should have never had an NDA. And I agree. I see it in chat. When you have a live build that is generally just as bad from a gameplay standpoint as the rest of your tests, from Evo to Wave 1 PTU to Open PTU, what's the point? There is none. There's literally no point. All the bugs are found in Evo and Wave 1 PTU and the early tests. CIG does nothing about them. They fix some of the easy ones and then push the patch out to sell a ship. Every month. They have their cadence. They're getting a patch out every month. They literally do not care to have the live build be perfect. Your playability, by the way. But they just don't care about that because they recognize that the live build is, once you get all the people in there, the reasons probably and more of the why a bug happens comes to the surface, and then they're usually able to fix some of them or ignore most of them like they do. So the live build is the PTU. It just is. And at this point, the way they're doing it with a patch every month, that's what it is now, right? My arguments about like the way they should treat the live servers, like it is, should be put on a pedestal and should be as perfect as you could possibly get it, was when we were getting a patch every 3 months. Now, it just doesn't matter, right? It is a PTU. Like, let's get real here. It's a PTU with progress that we consistently lose still, and they still haven't fixed that. So, how does this work? The selected group gameplay testing will operate on an invitation-only basis. My question is how are you basing this invitation only on? Like, if this is a mining test, who's going to get invited? I better get invited to that because I care about that, and I don't care to make content about it. I care for it to be as good as possible. Crafting, if I'm not invited to crafting, I'm going to fucking throw a fit, right? Not really, but I would be upset because I really do want to provide my feedback on what I find fun and what I don't find fun with those. Bringing together small, carefully selected groups based on player activity for target testing. So that's the thing. Player activity. With what? Just being in? How many rocks you mine? Right? So once you base it on player activity, this is my biggest concern here, is you are only going to get feedback from people who play the game arguably too much, right? Maybe somebody like myself, maybe somebody that just plays the game a lot, doesn't have a job right now, retired, whatever, right? And then you're not going to get feedback from players who have kids, jobs, right? The normal, I got 2 hours a day to play if I'm lucky people, which is going to be the majority. So that's my first concern there. But it just depends on what their goals are, right? Unlike our standard PTU waves, these tests will focus on specific systems or mechanics that require immediate concentrated feedback during active development. I love this. So I just want to be clear, this is amazing, and this is what CIG has needed forever. It is very similar to what I've made a call for a long time ago of, hey, you should do a vote for the players in the community to be a part of some sort of a council, very similar to EVE Online, where, it's not a popularity contest because there's like one streamer, one out of all the streamers in the entire EVE Online community that is on this council. It's not about streamers, not a popularity contest. It's about your game knowledge and what you can provide and give feedback on to try to make the game better, and people vote on those people. And you can only do 2 terms in a row, and then you're out for at least 1 term. So they do that, and those people have access to what's coming next and give feedback and all those things to try to make the game better before it comes into our hands. This is fantastic because this is base building, this is engineering, this is crafting. What are other features that are probably coming on? Flight model stuff, new quantum travel, so much stuff that's coming at some point in the next couple of years that they are able to iron out the extremely engineering comes with the armor stats, Fran, right? So they're able to iron out the most obvious stupid decisions that CIG makes every single time a patch comes out. The moment it goes in Evo, I just throw my hands up and go, how the fuck do you make this decision? Do you even play the game? Right? Of course they don't play the game. They make the game. They make the game for 8 hours a day. They're not going to go home and play it, most of them. Right? So, no. And they didn't know. And like, if they just did something like this, they would have the most obvious stuff ironed out right away. This is amazing. My only very minor concern is just going off of player activity, because then you're going to get feedback from only gremlins, basically, right, that just play the game all the time. The tests will launch at irregular intervals based on development needs with short notice periods. Test duration will vary depending on the scope and requirements of each system being evaluated. All participants must sign and acknowledge NDA terms before gaining build access. Great. Will you actually enforce it? Feedback process. All feedbacks for these tests will be submitted directly to us via email only, because they know the issue council is completely broken and people have been scraping it for years, and that's how all the leaks happen. Email will be provided as part of the test invitations. For these tests, we will not allow forum post-spectrum discussions, issue council reports, external discussions about the test content. Participants will receive a comprehensive survey following each test session to capture their experience and observations. Selected citizens will receive invitations via email as an NDA agreement to sign. Keep an eye on your communications. Cool. I think that's fantastic. I would love to be a part of some of these. I probably will not be a part of any of them because of who I am, which is totally fine. I get it. But regardless, the initiative here is fantastic. If this gets through, if the most stupid obvious things get through, I also have a concern that CIG doesn't listen to feedback because they think they know better. Because there's way too often that we say, hey, why would you do it this way? And then, you kind of get the cold shoulder or brush off, and then gradually, after a few months of people dealing with the bad experience, they finally go, oh, yeah, yeah, you guys are right. So, yeah. Leaks are therefore impossible because CIG can simply triangulate to find them. No. In this case, I can literally, if I was in this test, I can talk to my friend and say exactly what my experience was in the mining test, let's say, which they're probably not doing, right? So I do a mining test and I say, oh, yeah, there's 3 new materials in Pyro. They're really cool. And who's going to know that I said that? I'm not the only one with a build of these certain materials. I mean, it would be amazing if they named the materials per build for each individual. I don't think they're going to do that, right? So, yeah. And then I heard the notes are fantastic, or the comments. Cool Water, very nice guy, says, please don't use streamers for this. Use regular players who just want CIG to succeed. What streamer doesn't want CIG to succeed? Can I get the context on the second part? Take a lesson from how streamers screwed up Call of Duty Warzone for the rest of us. What's the context of that? Oh, does somebody answer? Because somebody asked the same question here. Activision ruined Call of Duty by firing the original development. No, nothing there. SaltEMike excluded by Cool Water. Because streamers want drama. What streamers want drama? I don't think you get it, man. Think about the streamers in this community. Nobody here wants drama. You may think that I do, but it's the worst experience of all time. It's fucking horrible. What happened with Activision? I don't get it. But streamers play more than most players and would have more experience of the game and more input to provide. Yeah, I think I imagine people think that streamers put content ideas first and the game second. And I think they would be correct on that standpoint. But it's not just streamers. Like, I often go and look at the PvP Discord and stuff like that, and it's everywhere, right? So should I make a reply to this post and say, please don't use fucking, cave trolls that sit on Spectrum all day for this either? Because they're not good for the game either. And they're not doing anything to make the game more successful. They're just making the community more toxic and awful, right? So it doesn't matter. What I hope we get is entire walks of life for this. I hope we get some content creators, some people who, all they do is play Star Citizen. I hope we have, the dad or mom that has, very little time to play. So then you get feedback about the experience that everybody needs. What are we talking about here? Like, if we're going to talk about crafting, our crafting time's going to take 6 weeks and tons of materials and no system in order to procure them easily, right? Or what? Like, I don't know. Like, we all have a vision of what we expect the game to be, but it's hard to say. I think this is funny, but how is this different than the Evo process? It's email only. This is killing Evo. What I also think this is this is probably how they'll do some Squadron 42 testing as well, if this is successful. So I think that they're probably ready to start doing some focus testing for Squadron, and they want to see the leak possibilities of something like this and see what happens here. So I think that is also what's going on here, is they probably want to do some focus testing, free focus testing, and use us probably. So regardless, I think this guy's an idiot. But also, when they invited every streamer for the 4.0 thing and didn't invite people who actually test the game, that was the moment that we lost all sense of reality of what Evocati was about in the first place. It is insane. I want to point out, and I will forever point this out, that I respected the NDA the entire fucking time, and people who did not respect the NDA, the moment being an Evo actually became a, I guess the word would be profitable experience for a content creator, every single content creator, including the ones who literally used and logged into other players' accounts who were in Evocati to see it and then leak on their own content, yep, you know who you are, were invited to the test. So that is like the worst fucking thing ever. And it killed all respect for the NDA, for Evo, all that stuff. And it's a joke. It's a joke. Yeah, I knew about things for this game for a really long time, and not only did I respect my NDA, but I respected every dev that ever spoke to me about anything and never said a word about any of it. And yeah, I knew that blueprints were coming for a really long time, and I never said a word about it, and it killed me to not say it because I was so excited for it, and everybody was telling me that I was wrong, that they wouldn't happen, but I always kept my mouth shut. And yeah, it sucks, but we all want the game to be good, and this is the best decision to get that done because Evo didn't work, and I'm glad they're finally going away from it. If you haven't noticed, Evo tests really short. Wave 1 playtest really short. CIG has constantly been putting the stick in the spoke of their own wheels and going, oh, we don't have enough testers, and they wonder why, when it's like, well, you've been doing these dumbass waves based off of how much money people spent for the longest time. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Of course, you're not going to get testers from the guys who spent $30,000 on a video game. They're not going to test for you. They're too busy running their 16 businesses. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? So the idea there was it was never going to work, and they're finally coming up with something that could work better. I still have my concerns about the activity-based thing, simply because players who play this game too much will have too much say in maybe how long something should take, right? People who play the game a lot maybe want the thing to take a little bit longer so the game is fun for longer for them. Whereas people who don't have a lot of time, who, are you going to get that good balance? So I hope they find that balance there. Maybe activity means, hey, this guy does, most of his time he's doing mining. This girl does most of the time she's doing cargo hauling, right? Maybe we'll invite them. That would be great. That would be great if they did it that way. But who knows? Who knows? I know they have a lot of metrics. So, but yeah, that's all I have to say on this. I know it was a lot, but I feel very strongly about the before it gets to us stage. The before it gets to us stage seems to be one of the parts where they're just clueless. And this hopefully gives them a clue into like the very obvious stupid things that shouldn't happen. And that we're very easily able to point out, right? So, yeah, I guess let me know what you think, and I'll just get this up on YouTube.